What if Bella's new life in Jacksonville took a shocking turn? Bella POV Chapter 1 Goodbyes. I had just started packing this morning. It wasn't much, just enough to keep me sane. Ever since Victoria had created her army, Edward has been on edge. We've already won the battle with the newborns, but now there's another problem. Victoria. She hasn't been caught and killed yet. From what Edward has told me, she's somewhere far away. Edward and I were going to visit Renee hopefully. We hadn't told Charlie yet. We figured that we might as well pack, just in case. There's no knowing what Charlie is capable of. He could get extremely irate, since he still remembers when Edward left, and pull out his gun. You never know. It's a good thing that Edward's bulletproof. As I walked down the stairs, I found Edward sitting in one of the chairs that does not match the table. Hey, I said. He didn't turn. He didn't respond. He was literally frozen in his seat. Edward? He jumped, which surprised me. You can't scare a vampire. Oh, he stated. Good morning, Bella, or good morning. Are you okay? You seem jumpy. Yes, he said in a tight voice. I'm fine. Okay, well I started, still shocked. We should probably go talk to Charlie. Oh, you're right. He got up and went into the living room. I followed after him. I cleared my throat, trying to pry Charlie's attention from the game. He jumped and turned to me. What's up, Bells? He asked. Well, Dad ERRSCE. Edward's parents got me tickets to Jacksonville for my birthday to visit Mom. And Edward wanted to officially meet Renee, so I trailed off, looking to Edward to finish, so she wanted me to come along. She and I just want to know if it's alright with you, he finished. Charlie sighed. Well, I guess. When do you leave? Today, I said hesitantly. Oh, okay. Charlie got up and walked over to me. He gave me an awkward hug. Bye, Bells. Have fun. Take care of Renee, I sighed. I will, Dad. Don't worry. Edward and I walked out to the car, putting our luggage in the trunk. We got in the car and drove off. I stared out the window. Goodbye Fort for now, at least, I muttered, as Edward sped, always too fast, down the road. Something caught my eye. A small figure was standing, hands on hips, in front of our car. The figure was pixie-like Alice. I gasped. Edward, stop the car. I shouted. Edward stopped the car abruptly. What is it? He asked me. Look in front of you. And there was Alice, sitting cross-legged on the hood of the car. A low hiss escaped from Edward. Edward rolled his window down. Alice, what now? Oh, I just wanted to say bye again, so bye. And with that statement, she ran off toward her house. That strange, little pixie. Bella POV Chapter 2 Airport. When Edward and I got to the airport, it was unusually quiet. It was like everyone was mute. Edward, I started. Do you think everyone is okay? A low growl escaped from him. No, he hissed. She's been here, and then it hit me like a punch in the face. Victoria? I choked. Shh. She could be here, let's get to the plane. Edward and I ran to the plane, just in case. When we got on, everyone was loud. Which was a good sign. Edward and I sat in the front, making sure, if anything strange happened, there were witnesses. I was shaking from the fear, afraid Victoria would pop up any minute and kill me. Edward rubbed my shoulders in comfort. Relax, he said. Sure, I muttered. She's just waiting to kill me, isn't she? He cringed. Love, she's not even on the plane. Oh, I said, surprised. I thought you caught her scent? Yes, Bella. I did. In the airport, not on the plane. I thought about that for the rest of the flight. But Victoria's face, twisted with desire to kill me, lingered behind my eyelids. Alice POV Chapter 3 Visions. SM. Where's Jasper? I shouted down the hall. Jasper, Emmett, and I were going to surprise Bella and Edward. We were going to Jacksonville. Yay. Bella and Edward were going to be so excited. He should be on his way back from his hunting trip, she called back. As she said the words, Jasper and Emmett walked through the door, luggage in hands. Well, that was quick. You two weren't as thirsty as I thought. Nope, Emmett said, popping the pea. Just needed a refresher. I was jumping up and down. Well then, let's go. I trilled, Jasper, Emmett, and I got into my Porsche. I, of course, was driving. Nobody drives my Porsche but me. As the car accelerated, I saw something. No, someone. I gasped. Victoria? Victoria was in Jacksonville, and then I could see again. What, Alice? Jasper asked me. What did you see? Victoria, I started, dazed. In Jacksonville. Growls shook through Emmett and Jasper. Oh no, I said. The car sped past Port Angeles and to the airport. Luckily, Rosalie ran along beside the car so she could drive it back home. Okay, Rosalie is an exception to driving my car. We quickly got out of the car and ran into the airport. We walked normally to the desk. A woman with black hair and blue eyes looked at us. Hello, she said. How can I help you? We need the next flight to Jacksonville, I said quickly. You're in luck, she said, smiling up at me. The next flight is in an hour, I growled very quietly. Thank you, I said hastily. Emmett, Jasper, and I walked quickly to the seats near the desk. An hour later, the woman called us up to the desk and gave us our plane number. We quickly got on, gave the host our tickets, and sat down. What's going on with Bella and Edward? Emmett asked. I sighed. I haven't seen anything else, Emmett. Oh, if we're lucky, we'll get there in time to warn those two, Jasper stated, and with those words, the plane took off. Bella POV Chapter 4. Phil and Renee. Edward and I had just gotten to Renee's house, but we didn't go in. Thank goodness it was nighttime, or else Edward's skin would sparkle like diamonds in the sun in front of Jacksonville and my mother. I turned to look at Edward. You ready? I asked him. He smiled crookedly at me. As ready as I'll ever be. I took a deep breath and knocked on the door. I heard voices inside the house. Phil, can you get that? My mother. Kay, babe. Phil. The door opened, and Edward and I were met by a shocked Phil. Bella. Phil caught me up in a tight hug. Okay, Phil, I said, running out of oxygen. You're cutting off my air supply. He let me go abruptly. Oops. Sorry, it's okay, Phil. My mother shrieked from somewhere in the house. Did you just say Bella? And then I was met by another set of arms. Bella. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Renee practically screamed in my ear. Hey, Mom. How are you? Great, sweetie. How are you? Fine. Well, she started. Don't just stand outside, come in. Thank you, Renee, Edward said politely. She looked at him and smiled. Always a gentleman. As I lay in bed that night, I thought about everything Renee and I had talked about. Such as how Charlie was doing, and how Edward and I were. How school was. Little things. Victoria. Sooner or later, Victoria would be dead. A.N. Hey people. I got one review so far. Please review. Alice POV Chapter 5 Killing. Why was Victoria still alive? Why couldn't she have been killed with her army? I wanted so badly for her to be dead. She was after my almost sister. I growled. I felt my vision go blurry. I couldn't see. Vision. Victoria walks on the beach in Jacksonville. She spots a house above the beach. She catches the scent. The human. Bella, was it? She runs at inhuman speed up to the house and onto the balcony. Victoria finds Bella and another woman, her mother. Relaxing. An evil smile spreads across her face, and her teeth flash. She throws Bella through the house, the impact immediately killing her. End of Vision. I growled and hissed and thrashed and screamed. This could not be happening. Bella POV. As I lay with Renee on the balcony, sunbathing, I thought about what Victoria could be up to. Hunting? Possibly. On the search for me? Most likely. Edward was inside, writing a paper as an excuse to not go out in the sun. He would be able to hear every word we said, though. Yay. Note the sarcasm. Bella, my mom started. I turned to look at her. I frowned. What's wrong, Mom? Did something bad happen? How can I help? I asked. I immediately shot upright in my seat. Her lips twitched. No, nothing is wrong. I was just wondering how you and Edward were doing. I soon relaxed. Great, Mom. We're doing great. I glanced to the house, knowing Edward could hear me. Just as I thought this, I saw a flash of bright orange. I gasped. Standing in front of me was Victoria, her teeth flashing in the sun. Quick An, ironic, sorry. Who's this Bella? Is she one of your friends? Renee asked. My voice shook. And no, Edward POV. I heard Bella's voice shake as she said the word no. Air hissed through my teeth. No. I shouted in my head. I growled loudly, and the kitchen chair went flying through the window. I heard Renee exclaim, oh my gosh. But I was too angry to pay attention. Sorry, Edward's puff is so short, I just wanted to show you how angry he was. Now back to Bella. Bella POV. Oh my gosh. Renee screamed as a kitchen chair came flying through the window. I couldn't pay attention to the window. To the chair. To my mom. My eyes were locked on Victoria. Victoria crouched in front of me and smirked. Well, if it isn't the famous Bella. Your Edward looked as if he had so much fun killing my James. So, now, I can share his fun. She grabbed my shirt and lifted me. Don't worry, she said sweetly. This will only hurt a lot. And then she slammed me to the chair, breaking it in the process. She then proceeded to slam her hand down on my leg, shattering it to pieces. Not her leg, the bones in it. I screamed a blood-curdling scream, frightening my mom in the process. And then I heard the menacing growl I loved. No. Edward roared. He threw himself at Victoria. Edward grabbed Victoria by the neck. Oh my gosh. Renee shrieked. Bella. Oh, your leg. And your back. She then turned to Edward. Kill James? Edward. Put that young woman down right now, but Edward just ignored her. He grabbed Victoria by the ankles and slammed her onto the balcony, putting a hole through it. I was still screaming. My leg and back were in agonizing pain. Victoria then got up and threw Edward into a nearby bush. She then crouched down to my level, smiling at my screaming voice, and bit down on my leg. I screamed even more. I was burning. Edward had gotten up and thrown Victoria off of me. He was now holding her by the neck. He reached toward her arm, grabbed it, and ripped it off. Victoria shrieked in pain. Edward then ripped off her other limbs, and then, finally, her head. He quickly grabbed Renee's lighter and lit Victoria's mutilated body on fire. Edward growled slightly, and a small smile played on his lips. Renee had been in a stage of shock, but quickly composed herself. Edward, she started, why you just murdered somebody. How could you do this? I don't think you should be with Big Bella anymore. No, Renee, you don't understand. I'll tell you about it later. Right now, we have to get Bella back inside, Edward said. I was still screaming. Still burning. Edward picked me up, ran inside, at human speed, of course, and set me on the couch. He gently touched my leg, but pulled back when I screamed louder. Phil must have heard me screaming, because I could hear his voice. I couldn't see him. My eyes were shut. The pain was torture. Edward sniffed my bleeding back. I know. It sounds weird. But he can tell if the venom is spreading this way. Oh no, he growled. Renee, Phil, cover your ears. They didn't do as they were told. Jasper. Alice. Emmett. Carlisle. He shrieked. I had stopped screaming, knowing it wouldn't do me any good. In less than a second, the 4 vampires were at Edward's side. Phil was angered by Emmett, afraid he might hurt me because of his size. Edward was gripping his head, kneeling on his knees in front of the couch. Alice was sobbing tonelessly. Jasper was trying to calm me down. Emmett was too, but with speech. Bella, you're going to be okay. It's just a broken leg and a scraped back. Nothing to worry. He stopped speaking, then growled loudly. Renee jumped. Carlisle, Edward hissed. The venom is spreading. Venom? Renee and Phil said in chorus. What? Was she bitten by a snake? Renee asked. Close, Jasper murmured. Alice stopped being hysterical and sat on the couch next to me. Bella, you're going to be okay. Edward can get the venom back out. She turned to Edward. Right, Edward? Alice asked. It was Carlisle who answered her this time. I'm afraid not this time, Alice. There's too much venom in the system. The change is happening as we speak. Edward growled sharply and banged his head on the wall. No. Edward roared. I know, Edward. We never wanted this for her. We never wanted this to happen, Emmett murmured. Insert chapter break here. Bella POV. I must have burned for days. I remember Renee and Phil wanting to call the hospital, but Carlisle saying it won't work. I remember them asking why, but Edward said they'd talk about it later. Carlisle, she's almost changed, Edward muttered. I know, son. I know. Changed into what? Renee shrieked. Later, Renee, Alice chirped. The burning was almost gone, just my throat burned now. Oh, I thought. My throat is supposed to burn. I'm thirsty. Then, I opened my eyes. Everything was so clear. All my senses were saccurate. I felt a hand touch my arm, and I hissed and spun around, standing on the couch, in a pouncing stance. Then I realized who had touched my arm. Alice. Bella, you're okay, Alice said, while slowly approaching me. Then why does my throat burn? I asked, my voice, surprisingly, sounding like bells. Emmett, Jasper, get Bella out of here, Carlisle said. Where shall we take her? Jasper asked formally. The woods, Alice piped up. Emmett and Jasper both grabbed my arms. Hey! Let me go! I yelled. Get off! I thrashed around. I turned to Edward. The look on his face was pained, like he didn't want to see me struggling. Edward. Help me, he sighed, got up and walked over to me. He held my shoulders and whispered, you need to hunt. And you need to stay away from humans for a while, love. I looked up at him and sighed. I nodded. Okay, let's go, Emmett. Jasper. Insert chapter break here. Bella POV. I went hunting with Emmett and Jasper the morning before. Surprisingly, I wasn't thirsty. We were all sitting on the couch at Renee's, Emmett, Alice, Carlisle, Jasper, Edward, and I. Okay. Renee screeched. That's it. I want to know what is going on right now. Edward and I sighed simultaneously. Should we tell her? And Phil? I asked. Edward sighed again. I guess. She's got enough hints. Then he turned to face Renee and Phil. Renee, Phil, me family and I, we're not human. Phil and Renee's eyes widened. Edward just continued. We're vampires, but we drink animal blood, not human. We don't want to be monsters. We have learned to control ourselves. Some of us are special and have abilities. Such as, I read minds. Jasper can change anyone's emotion and feel what you feel. Alice sees the future. Phil was in a stage of shock. Renee's face was bright red. Bella, you are dating a vampire? She screeched. No. I now forbid you from seeing Edward or any of the Cullens. I rolled my eyes. Mom, I'm 18. I'm an adult, I make my own decisions. Now tell me something. Do I look and sound different, Mom? Yes, she stated angrily. Also, The only way you can kill a vampire is to rip it to shreds and burn the pieces. And Mom, Phil, I do have some stories that should lighten the mood, and that might darken it. Phil finally recovered. Well, tell us the ones that might darken the mood first, he said. Okay. I took a deep breath. The Volturi is after me. Italian vampires. I don't really know exactly why they're after me, so please don't ask. And, to lighten the mood, Alice is forcing me to get makeovers all the time. I smirked. She is the funniest girl I've ever met, and then, surprisingly, everyone laughed. Even Phil and Renee, although theirs were a little shaky from the shock. I mean, they were in a house full of vampires, for crying out loud. Renee, Phil, Edward started, I'd like you to meet the rest of my family, but back in Forks. I can't risk us being exposed in the sunlight. What, will you burn up and turn into a pile of ash? Renee asked. Emmett's booming laugh filled the room. Phil and Renee jumped. Myth, Jasper said. We just can't go into the sunlight near humans, sir, at least the ones who don't know. Why not? Phil asked. Alice smiled. We'll show you sometime. Insert chapter break here. Alice POV. Don't worry, Bella reassured them for the 100th time. All the Cullens drive like this. We never get pulled over or get into an accident. Oh, okay, Phil said, not really reassured at all. So Renee started. Do you all turn into bats? We all laughed. Myth, Emmett said, sleeping in coffins? Phil wondered. Myth, Bella stated. We don't sleep, at all? Phil and Renee said in unison. Never, Jasper said. We all got to the house in a half hour because of Edward's speed. SM and Rosalie greeted us at the door. They didn't see Bella. We all got out of the car. Bella came out last. Then they saw her. SM gasped. Rosalie stiffened and then hissed, oh my gosh. SM yelled. Bella, what happened to you? Victoria is what happened, Emmett hissed through clenched teeth. Is she finally dead? Rosalie growled. Yep, I piped up. Edward killed her. All heads turned to Edward. Oh, crap. Bella muttered. What's wrong? Jasper asked her. She then pointed towards the woods. We all looked. There was a man with a police car. Charlie, Edward murmured. Oh no, I whispered. He heard us. Insert chapter break. Renee POV. Charlie was walking toward all of us. Bella started shaking, but before I could go over and comfort her, Edward took my place. You can do it, he whispered. Control yourself. She composed herself and nodded, not breathing. I was thinking she didn't breathe when she was near me, you know, Charlie called. Murder counts as a crime. He started to get out his handcuffs, but was interrupted by SM. Emmett, Jasper, she said. Jasper and Emmett ran at inhuman speed towards Charlie. They grabbed him by his arms and put his arms behind his back, although they didn't cuff him. Hey! He shouted. Get off of me. I can't have you arrested for assaulting a police officer. He thrashed around. Dad! Bella shouted sternly. Cut it out. He suddenly stopped squirming. All right, SM scolded. Let's all go inside now, okay? We all nodded in agreement. Insert chapter break here in. Sorry it's so short. Emmett POV. Bella still wasn't breathing. Come on, Bells. Sooner or later, you gotta get a breath of air, I encouraged. You're right, Emmett, she said in a tight voice. And then she took a gulp of air. Finally. I wanted to scream. We were all sitting on the couch. Rosalie, SM, Alice, Emmett, Jasper, Carlisle, Charlie, and I looked to Edward and Bella for the whole story. Bella groaned. I'm gonna hate repeating this, she complained. I could say the same thing, Edward and Renee muttered. Well, Bella started. Renee and I were out on the balcony. Then she started talking about how protective Edward is, like a murderer is going to pop up and try to kill me. At the word kill, I saw Victoria. Literally, she was standing right on the balcony. Renee asked me if she was one of my friends, and I replied no. Then a kitchen chair came flying through the window, and I knew Edward did that. Victoria then crouched in front of me and said, well, if it isn't the famous Bella. Your Edward looked as if he had so much fun killing my James. Now, and then she growled, I can share his fun. She then picked me up by my shirt and said, don't worry, this will only hurt a lot. She threw me onto a chair, breaking it in the process. Then she slammed her hand down on my leg, breaking that too. Bella winced. Renee, can you go on, please? Renee nodded. Of course. She cleared her throat. After that, I heard a really frightening growl, and then heard, no. Edward slammed into Victoria and grabbed her by the neck. I saw Bella's leg and back, and lost it. Edward then slammed Victoria down on the patio and Edward continued. She threw me off her, went over to Bella and bit her leg. I threw her off Bella and ripped her limbs off and burned her. Bella was in so much pain and then he gestured to Bella. And now you see what happened. Whoa, I breathed. Weird story, and then I suddenly remembered someone. Hey, I started, where's Jacob? We all shrugged. Insert chapter break here. Bella POV. Rosalie rolled her eyes. It was Bella's fault, anyway, she sneered. Perhaps if she hadn't come to our family while she was human, this wouldn't have happened. She was standing up now, Rose, Emmett warned. Edward was standing up now too. This was none of Bella's fault. Maybe you need to start being nicer to her. Starting now, he growled. Rosalie and Edward were growling at each other now. Guys, I warned. They ignored me. Suddenly, there was a loud, menacing growl. We all jumped. A huge, reddish-brown wolf appeared between Rosalie and Edward. Jacob, Renee screamed, Phil was scared stiff, and Charlie was hyperventilating. Mom, Dad, Phil, it's fine. Then I turned towards the wolf. This takes place after Renesmee was born, but the only change is there's no Renesmee. Edward and Jacob are friends now. Jacob, I yelled. The wolf's head turned towards me. He walked towards me, but before I could touch him, Charlie pulled out his gun. Okay. He screeched. What is going on? Tell me right now, Bella. I took a deep breath. Dad, didn't you listen to what Rosalie said? When I was human. The Cullens and I, we're not human. And neither is Jake. As you can see, Jake's a werewolf. And the Cullens and I are vampires. He didn't lower his gun. I sighed. Jasper, I encouraged. He nodded. Right, he said. Charlie immediately calmed down. He blinked. What just happened? Why am I so calm? Jasper did it, Alice sang. He can feel and control your emotions. And I can see the future. And Edward reads minds. And Bella shields her mind and can lift it, the shield, of course. Oh, Charlie stated. Alice told Charlie about everything. Why our eyes are gold and not red. Why we sparkle in the sunlight. Everything. I stroked Jacob's fur. How have you been, Jake? He barked happily. I laughed. I'll take that as a good. Insert chapter break here. Alice POV. The next morning, I heard Bella trying to wake Charlie up. Come on, Dad. Get up, go away, he mumbled sleepily. I laughed quietly. Dad, it is really dangerous for me to be near you right now. I haven't hunted, my throat is burning, and I really don't want to kill you. So I suggest you get up now. Bella sounded weak. I could tell her eyes were black. Alice. She whispered. I was outside the room in a second. She said. She laughed weakly. Then she got a scared face. Dad. Alice has run off. I think she's been eaten by a wolf. I laughed hysterically. Charlie shot up bright. Huh? Alice, right here, I sang. Bella, he growled. He saw that her eyes weren't gold anymore in the purple bruise-like shadows beneath her eyes. Were you in a fight? Who beat you up? Was it Emmett? He questioned. Bella's laughter was shaky. I could tell she was restraining from feeding on Charlie. Uh-oh, I said. Edward. Emmett. I shrieked. They were in the room in a second. What is it, Alice? Edward asked. Bella hasn't hunted, I thought. Her eyes are black and she's near Charlie. Emmett, grab Bella, I ordered. You too, Edward. They both grabbed one of Bella's arms. You know, guys, she started, I can walk. You don't have to grab me, just being careful, Bells, Emmett said, and with that, they ran Bella back to the woods. Inter-chapter break here. Jasper POV. Tension was rolling off of Edward and Emmett when they came through the door. I immediately thought of a reason why they would feel this way. The Voltry. At least Bella was calm. You guys didn't catch the Voltry scent, did you? I asked, immediately grabbing Alice and pulling her behind me. Hey! She protested. I ignored her. Nope, Emmett replied. I was confused. Then why are you and Edward so tense? Bella didn't feed enough, Edward said quietly. Bella rolled her eyes. I'll be fine, Edward. Alice rolled her eyes too. Yeah, Edward. She's not going to hurt Charlie. She knows better. Charlie widened his eyes. Panic was coming off in waves off of him. I calmed him down. Jasper, you gotta stop doing that. It confuses me, Charlie muttered. I smirked. The doorbell rang. We never have any visitors. Ever. I'll get a Tavarion, act human. Alice whispered. She skipped towards the door. When Alice opened the door, a teenage girl, maybe 18 or 19, about Bella's age, was standing at the door. She smiled. Charlie and Renee guessed and panicked. Everyone else was confused. Except for Bella. She was ecstatic. I wonder why that was. Hi, the girl said. She was cut off by Bella throwing herself at the girl. Our first reaction was to grab Bella. Let me go. Bella growled menacingly. Then it hit me. This girl wasn't human. She was a vampire. And, by her eyes, she drank animal blood just like us. We immediately let Bella go. She slammed into the girl. Lizzie. She squealed. Bella? Lizzie asked excitedly, the one and only. Bella stated. They both screamed and hugged each other tightly. Inter-chapter break here. Bella's POV. I couldn't believe Elizabeth was here. My vampire sister. I turned my head towards the Cullens. I told you I had no problem with vampires when I was human. Elizabeth, I gestured to her with my hand, is my sister. I found out when I was 17 I was searching the Swan family and came up to her. I found out she was my sister, and had pure rage towards Renee and Charlie. But I hid it very well for 2 years. But, I found out she was a vampire when I looked at her picture. Her eyes were gold. It was the day after Edward told me about you guys. And no rage is coming back. I winced. Why would they keep something like this from me? Alice smiled hugely. I immediately knew what she was up to. Alice, no. You are not giving Liz makeovers, she frowned. As I walked in, I heard everything, she said. Liz, why don't you come and have a seat? That's SM, Liz. Liz looked at me. Thanks, Bells, she thought back. Thank you, SM, Liz commented. SM looked confused. How do you know my name? She asked. Liz smiled. Bella told me. SM looked startled. I didn't hear her say anything. I laughed. That's because Liz and I have special gifts. We can read each other's thoughts, nobody else's. So, it's mainly talking to each other in our minds, I said. I found that out just now, Edward pouted. So, I'm going to have to get inside her head to find out what's going on in yours? No, I said, laughing. Bella. Liz thought, what? I have a glitch in my brain, which means I know what it means. I have the same glitch. Oh, no, Edward, I said again. Liz has the glitch in her brain too. Darn, he murmured. Inter-chapter break here. Liz POV. As I sat on the couch, I felt uneasy. 8 vampires, 2 humans, and no werewolf? Were staring at me, waiting for my story. I cleared my throat. Bella, sit with me? I thought, of course. Bella was born when I left. That's why Renee and Charlie are so old. I smirked. A big guy, looking like a big teddy bear, almost, walked over to Bella. "Bells," he started, "why don't you let us introduce ourselves?" "Oh, right. Sorry," Bella stated, embarrassed. She stood next to the tall blonde man. The man who had changed me. "Liz, this is Carlisle." She then pointed to another man, whose hair was a honey blonde. "Jasper." Jasper nodded to me. She pointed to the short girl with black, spiky hair. "Alice." Alice smiled hugely and waved. Bella was now standing next to a tall, blonde girl. She was beautiful. "Rosalie." Rosalie smiled slightly at me. Then Bella went over to the burly one. "Emmett." Emmett smiled and nodded at me. Then Esm. "You've already met Esm." And then she went to a vampire with bronze hair. "And my husband, Edward." "Yes, Edward and Bella are married as I said." This was after Renesmee was born, but no Renesmee. Edward smiled at me and nodded. "Oh," Bella exclaimed. "You already know Renee and Charlie." "But this," she ran over to a reddish-brown wolf, "is Jacob. He's a shapeshifter." She patted his head. Insert chapter break here. Bella POV. "So," I said to Liz. "Now you know everyone." Liz looked overwhelmed. "It's a lot to take in, I'll tell you that." She narrowed her eyes. "Tell me, is there a werewolf in your house?" she asked. "I'll answer that," a deep voice said. I knew that voice anywhere. I didn't need to turn around to know it was. "Hey, Jake," I greeted. He nodded at me. "Well, there was an army that another vampire created." "A vampire who was?" I cut him off. "Why don't you let Edward and I tell that story?" "Kay," he stated. Edward cleared his throat. "As Jacob said, there was an army. An army that another vampire created. A vampire who was after Bella. Her name was Victoria. See, when Bella was still human, I brought her to one of our baseball games. She was having a great time, until 3 human blood-drinking vampires interrupted us. Their names were Victoria, James, and Laurent." "James was a," Liz interrupted. "Tracker, I know. He tried to kill me when I was a newborn," I continued. "He tracked me. And tried to kill me. He went to our house in Phoenix and got the tapes from when I was a little girl. He tricked me by saying he had Mom hostage, when it was only really the tapes in the background. He broke my leg, a few ribs, and bit my hand. But Edward was able to get the venom back out. James was killed, but Victoria wanted revenge on Edward for killing her mate. So, she decided to try to kill me. As you can see, that didn't work out." I stopped. "So, Edward and Bella went to Jacksonville to get away from Victoria," Alice piped up. "But I had a vision." "Yeah, I have visions. Jasper controls and feels emotions. Edward reads minds. Bella shields and does what you don't anyway. Victoria was killing Bella. Jasper, Emmett, and I went on our way to Jacksonville." Carlisle tagged along. Renee took a deep breath. "When Bella and I were out on the balcony, I was speaking of how Edward is so protective of her. Then Victoria, ironic as it seems, was on the balcony. I had asked Bella if she was one of her friends. Of course, she replied no. Edward came out and attacked Victoria after she had broken Bella's leg and slammed her into the chair. Bella was screaming in agony. I was terrified. Victoria pushed Edward into a nearby bush, grabbed Bella's broken leg, and bit her. Bella screamed even more. She closed her eyes. "I'll go on," Emmett said. "We heard Edward shriek our names, and we came to find Bella in pain. The venom was already spreading. We couldn't save her. Now, Bella's a vampire, as you can see." Insert chapter break here. Alice POV. "Wait. Did this mean that I would get another sister?" "Yay. I wasn't sure yet, so I might as well ask. Wait, Bella?" I started. "Yeah, Alice?" She asked, "Does this mean that Liz is part of this family too? And any other siblings you may have?" "Well, yes. She's this one, so yes, eek." I threw my arms around Liz. We're going to be great friends, Liz chuckled. Yeah, we are. But she trailed off. What, Liz? Bella asked, worried. I forgot to tell you that you have an older brother, Liz stated. Bella looked confused. Do I? Yes, Liz answered. You do? He's right outside. His name is Matthew? Bella asked excitedly. Yeah. How'd you know? I found him too. He's a vampire too, right? Yes, Liz said. Bella turned to SM. SM, can he come in? SM looked startled that Bella would have to ask to let someone in the house. Of course, I'll get him, Liz exclaimed. And then she was out the door in less than a heartbeat. Insert chapter break here. Bella POV. How many things have Charlie and Renee kept from me? I knew I only had 2 siblings, but online it said that Matthew was dead. Come to think of it, it said that about Liz too. A guy at the age of 19, to be exact, walked in the house with Liz. He had the same hair color as Liz and I. Oh my god, he whispered. Bella? As in Isabella Marie Swan, my youngest sister? Yes, I exclaimed. He ran at inhuman speed to me and picked me up in a bone-crushing hug. Edward had gone hunting after Liz came. But, of course, he rushed, and was now home. He saw Matthew crushing me, and probably immediately thought he was hurting me. So he proceeded to throw Matthew out of my embrace and across the room, causing him to hit a wall. Oh my god, I screeched. I glared at Edward. He looked confused. Did he hurt you? He asked. No, I said. I ran over to Matthew and pulled on his arms. Come on, I said. I induced a tiny bit of strength, careful not to rip his limbs off. Get up, I grunted. He got up and brushed himself off. His eyes narrowed as he caught Edward's figure. Matthew growled and started to lunge for Edward, but I quickly put myself in front of him. No, I scolded. I sighed. Edward, this is my brother, Matthew. I then turned to Matthew. Matthew, this is my husband, Edward. You do know that I'm supposed to approve of this guy, right? Matthew asked. I rolled my eyes. Really? He chuckled and shook his head. No. I can tell he loves you and cares for you and about you. He doesn't hurt you, Edward chuckled. Well, he's right about that. I suddenly remembered why I had gotten mad in the first place, and now I was furious. My head whipped toward Renee and Charlie. How many things have you kept from me? I asked slowly, growling slightly. Phil stiffened from my tone. Bella, relax, he warned, speaking for the first time since the car ride. I hissed. No, I will not relax. Then I crouched down to Renee and Charlie's level, since they were sitting on the couch. I narrowed my eyes. How much have you 2 kept from me? I repeated, angrier. Well, Charlie started, just your brother and sister. I pinched the bridge of my nose and shut my eyes tightly. Why? I asked through clenched teeth. We thought you'd want to be an independent little girl, so we were going to ask Liz and Matthew to move out. But, according to newspapers, Liz and Matthew had died in murder, Renee explained. I opened my eyes and heard Alice mutter, uh-oh, air has stopped my throat, and I bounced towards my parents and fell. They all screamed. Suddenly, I was held back by something strong. Matthew, I thrashed around and growled. Get her out of here, Jasper shouted. Insert chapter break here. Matthew POV. I ran with Bella towards the woods, with Liz on my heels. Bella was thrashing around and growling and hissing. I needed to gain control. Once we were far enough away from the house, I stopped. I did not let go of Bella. I wasn't risking anything. She still thrashed. Let me go, she screamed. I didn't. Why? Why would they keep something like this from me? Liz came up to me. Let go of her, Matt, she said softly. Again, I didn't let go. Bella thrashed even more. Matthew, Liz warned. I sighed and let go of Bella. She sank to the forest floor and cried dry tears. I'm a monster, she whimpered. Before I could reply, I heard someone shouting. Bella. It shouted. I looked back, and what I saw shocked me. Well, her husband didn't, but what did was the huge reddish-brown wolf running beside Edwin. Eduardo? Whatever his name was, I narrowed my eyes at the wolf, but it just kept running towards Bella. Edward was hugging Bella now, with her crying tuna sobs into his shoulder. The wolf walked behind me, and bumped his nose on my head, asking me to move. I did. It sniffed Bella, then ran behind a tree. The next thing I knew, a boy with a pair of jeans, black t-shirt, and sneakers on ran from behind the tree towards Bella. I sniffed the air around him. Shapeshifter, I growled. Shapeshifters or vampires' natural enemies. I put myself in front of Bella, so the wolf boy didn't come anywhere near her. He reached me, and crouched down into a pouncing stance. He growled. From the corner of my eye, I saw Bella compose herself and stand up. Her face looked horrified as she glanced at Wolfboy and then me and back again. Wolfboy was just about to pounce when Bella put herself in front of him. Jake, she warned. HMPH. So his name was Jake? Or maybe Jake was short for Jacob. He relaxed and stood up, but still glared at me. Bella sighed. Matthew, this is my best friend, Jacob, she said. Jacob, this is my brother, Matthew. Insert chapter break here. Bella POV. Jake just nodded at him, and craned his neck to look behind Matt. Then who's the other bloodsucker? Jake asked. That's my sister, Elizabeth. Liz for short, I answered. He looked at me. Since when do you have siblings? Since my whole life, but I never knew about them. Charlie and Renee kept them from me. I asked them why they would keep something like this from me. But I snapped. I pounced at them, but Matt held me back. I trailed off. I had almost killed my parents. I'm a monster, I whispered. No, you're not, Bella. You were thirsty. You couldn't help it. I heard a voice say from behind me. Thanks, Alice. She danced over to me. Just telling the truth, she sang, ended.